you for this warm welcome. Yeah, welcome to the masterclass, Cracking the Programmatic Code. From the title, you can see that we have quite a few topics to cover today. I'm trying to cramp it all into this masterclass. So my goal is to really, deliver quite some content. So be prepared, be awake. What you should be learning today is how to increase your conversions by 44% and at the same time save 50% of time while doing so and optimizing, setting up and optimizing your campaigns. I was already introduced, so I'm going to skip that quickly. But just in case you wonder, there's quite some similarity between geophysics and the ad tech world. And, or there is a link, let's put it that way. And the link is definitely AI, which is also the topic of today's masterclass. Or like kind of like the red line through all the different topics. I kind of want to start off with talking about how AI is used already in programmatic media buying and how it should be definitely used. Then we would like to talk about the cookieless future, or rather let's talk about the addressability gap that is the consequence of it. And then lastly, I want to talk about the way how to use AI for omnichannel targeting and measurement. And as mentioned, there should be time for questions at the end, so yeah. Feel free to ask me anything. All right, let's start with the first part around AI and programmatic media buying. And I would like to start with a bit of an interactive question. Let's see who knows what was launched 30th of November, so end of 22, that fundamentally disrupted the way consumers use AI. What is everyone talking about? The tool, yes, correct. Correct, ChatGPT. There's no prize to win, by the way. But I appreciate the participation. Now, second question, what was launched in 2006 that allowed AI-driven media buying and audience targeting on the open web? This is much more difficult. So, Quantcast. I think you might have thought, because I'm from Quantcast, but don't worry, I'm not going to give you a sales pitch. What I'm trying to say with that is that AI and programmatic media buying is not new for us, right? So despite this being a big hype now, it has been around for a very long time. We've been doing it since 2006. That's not the start of AI in media buying, but you can go back quite some time. And I would like to highlight a little bit the different parts. If we think about how programmatic media is being bought, you start with like your audience, you need data, you start with your audience planning, etc. So how data is being collected and processed, that's where AI is actively being used. Then of course, for the actual audience targeting and personalization of the ads, which we've pioneered in the programmatic space. And then the whole bidding strategies and optimization. This is also something that I will deep dive in a moment, but that's very distinctive for programmatic media buying versus other classical media buying. Then in the space around ad front, brand safety and suitability, AI is being used already. Of course, the future with cookieless. A lot of people swear that AI is going to be what's going to save us, and we will be able to continue delivering targetable ads. And then the part around omnichannel attribution and campaign analysis. So we will touch on all these. Let's start with the first part around data controlling and processing. And maybe, it's a little bit, this term of AI is always a little bit abstract, but I want to kind of visualize it here with this animation. And basically, this is a visualization of something called natural language processing, which is a subcategory of AI. And what this AI is doing, it's clustering into topical, based on topics, it's clustering content of websites in the open web. So how is this machine doing it? It's basically crawling keywords across all these different websites and then clustering it. You see here health and fitness, fantasy football, forums, discussions, entertainment, gossip, and so on and so on. So this is just a little bit to visualize you what is possible, unlike when it comes to analyzing data. In this case, natural language processing, crawling keywords. So that's quite impressive. That's something that a human brain can't do. But we need to be able to do it in order to understand where is the right place to serve your ads, whether it's around brand suitability or whether it's about, is that the place where your target audience is at? Let's talk about the audience targeting and personalization a little bit. And the difficulty, and maybe if we are honest, we can all align that this is how, at the moment, often media is still planned and executed today in many cases. Maybe we have some people from the media agencies as well in the audience. I think they will maybe identify with that. But basically, we have the planning stage where we are all aligned. This is the target audience we want to reach. Sometimes we spend like loads of money in research, understanding who is this person. Let's call her Anna. And, we know how her demographics look like, what interests she has, her behavior, sometimes even maybe what color her couch at home has. I don't know. So we have a very detailed, or we think we have a very detailed view on like how our target audience is. And that's what we plan on. And then we talk to the buying teams who then actually are looking, how can we reach this person, this Anna? And there it starts to become a little bit less detailed already often with the tools, because often it's a different tool that's then being used to buy versus the one that was used to plan. And then we end up more like with something like women, where they're geographically located, what age they have. And we start to add certain KPIs like CTR, frequency, viewability, which had nothing to do with Anna in the first planning stage. And then we are, live with the campaign, and we start to optimize what's working, who do we want to reach, or what's performing better. And then we end up, okay, we're optimizing basically on female, 18 to 49, and especially the campaign managers or traders are looking at CTR, viewability, is what frequency am I targeting with, etc. And then we all meet together again and we say, okay, let's discuss the results of the campaign. And we end up just talking about, CTRs, the frequency, viewability, maybe where did the ads deliver, etc. So there's quite a disconnect, and a loss of the whole audience fidelity, no consistency really, and hence as a result, also the performance. So this is where then AI can come into place. And if you use a unified platform and you actually pair that with first-party real-time data, that's where you can actually find focus in the fragmentation. You need AI to make sense of it. And the AI needs real-time first-party data that's representative of your audience, which could be changing, right? Or usually is changing in real time. There's not a lot of products that you are all the time in market for. And that's where AI comes into place and can help with it. Let's talk now about the bidding strategies and optimization. And this is something that's very rarely talked about when it comes to programmatic buying. Because, in the end, everyone wants to know, how is your DSP different from the other DSP and so on. And it's almost like under the hood. How is your algorithm actually working? Not everyone wants to really reveal all the secrets, but I'm going to give you a little bit of intel on how it looks like when proper AI or advanced AI is being used. Basically, you have the possibility with your algorithm that's based primarily on machine learning and, as mentioned, natural language processing, to not use data segments, but rather process signals in real time. What's the difference? All of us here in the room could be potentially travel enthusiasts, right? But we're not in market for the same type of travel travel packages and so on. Maybe someone prefers city trips and I prefer to lie on the beach and do nothing. So I'm now in market for the same offer. And that's where the possibility to analyze data, or rather signals, rather than pre-segmented audiences is very, very relevant. In order to do so, you have to have access to first-party data. Just saying, third-party data will never be able to match the same accuracy, and not in that, in that time frame as well. Then you pair that with an AI that can actually process or build models and predict user behavior based on that. So this is where it becomes interesting, because now I can go very granular with which user is potentially in market. And I have the possibility to also predict in a much more accurate way and be maybe first and be more efficient in the buying. And then the last bit is around, I don't want to have a human who sits there maybe from 9 to 6, rather, and optimize the campaigns. I need a system that continuously learns autonomously, does not forget. And that's another thing where AI is going to be, making the difference, rather than having manual adjustments. So that's basically it. Signals, not segments. Models, not multipliers, like in a formula. And autonomous control rather than manual optimizations and adjustments. And if you look into these in detail, they really solve for some of our, marketing challenges. Well, some of our biggest marketing challenges around predicting the relevant audience, reaching the relevant audience, being able to uniquely evaluate every impressions in the bid stream, which makes your buying more efficiently. I want to buy in the interest of my targeting and campaign KPIs, not in terms of like a monetization interest of someone. And also controlling for multiple objectives and being able to continuously improve the results rather than having to rely on a very experienced trader, which there's not that many, and you need to pay them as well. To make that a bit less abstract, I have a case study here. This is with a German advertiser, FTI Touristik. It's a travel platform. And while this case study is a bit older, you will see that COVID-19 is mentioned here. Basically, it's from like after the pandemic, when the travel industry was trying to rebound. And this advertiser basically never stopped also working with us. But they definitely had a challenge, like many travel providers or travel advertisers, to bounce back after the pandemic. And what they have done is they've been using their own first-party real-time data, and basically the blueprint for the algorithm was their current bookers. But they have not just focused on that lower funnel, but actually run the whole funnel from like awareness through consideration down to conversion, booking optimized campaigns. And through the use of AI, they were able to target the right person that currently was in market to travel or was allowed to travel, could travel, etc., based on regulations. So if you had someone to have manually optimized that, you could almost not keep up with it, which is where AI came into place. The results show that we were able to achieve 17% lower cost per booking through that, but especially also because it was a full funnel approach. You see also here 2x, which is related to people who were touched with the awareness campaign versus people who were just touched by one campaign. So the full funnel approach really helped to maximize and actually double the likelihood to convert. Okay, so you have first of all, the use of first-party real-time data that was really key here due to the external world conditions, and then you pair that with a full funnel strategy where you target from top to bottom. So key takeaway number one, and there's three. Number one is really to use AI and first-party data to understand audiences and to remove yourself from the cookie-based solutions, which is our second chapter, let's put it that way, how AI can be used to solve the addressability gap. I think we can all agree that there is definitely a challenging time that's coming ahead. Actually, we are already in it. The deprecation of the third-party cookie is basically just the last part, but we have, privacy regulations, etc., that have already, impacted our industry in the past. But fact of the matter is that with all these external factors, plus the fact that consumer journeys are more complex and fragmented than ever across different, devices, etc., different channels, the addressability gap is really, or the topic around addressability is reaching another level. And I mentioned this is not the future. If we look into really how much of the reach already today, or how many users already today are surfing without third-party cookies, it is around 50%. This number varies kind of like from market to market, globally, and also months on months. But in general, you can say that around 50% of the audience already today, through environments like Safari, Firefox, or even in Chrome, are surfing without third-party cookies. I brought another example here from a jewelry client. What you're seeing here is on the x-axis, it's like all the countries that they are running with us in. So you see it's absolutely global. You have Europe, APAC, North America in it. And the blue bar, this is, by the way, their conversion data. So purchase confirmation, we are capturing through the pixel who is currently purchasing, ordering jewelry on their website. And the blue bar is all users that are coming from cookie-based environments. And the yellow bar is cookieless environments. And you see here there is some, I think I have a pointer here. Oh. Or not. Is it working? Oh, yeah. So you can see here there's some markets that are definitely above 50%. Some are less so, but as I mentioned, it varies from market to market. But fact of the matter is, if this advertiser would not run in cookieless environments today with us, they would massively lose out on a large portion of their target audience. So it's really crucial already today. The other challenge is around efficiency. Today, we're still discussing what's going to be the solution for to replace the third-party cookie. Is it ID signals? Is it cohorts? It's contextual? It's first-party data? I don't know. There's so many solutions, and within those as well. I mean, this is just a graphic that I took that's trying to show in the different geographic areas what kind of ID partner list is there. Some are focused on deterministic approaches, some on probabilistic. So there's another layer to add complexity to it. But yeah, as I mentioned, there is loads of different solutions that are being pushed, and people are more thinking, let's replace the third-party cookie by one specific thing, and my solution is the best. But what this really has as a result currently, the effectiveness of your media buying, and I hope there's some advertisers in the room here, they should notice that the effectiveness of your media buying is going down if you're focusing on primarily these third-party cookie-based environments. We see how programmatic performance is declining in those environments. CPMs are rising, CPCs, CPAs, and it's probably going to get even worse if you're not starting to act on it. But what I want to talk about is rather, why is everyone pushing for one solution? Wouldn't it be great if we could align that whatever solution there's out there, the tech that I'm using can use those signals? Wouldn't that be better? And that's exactly my message here. We shouldn't be relying or replacing the third-party cookie with just one other solution or identifier or signal. That makes no sense. The whole purpose of doing this is that our industry advances around, privacy, etc., but basically still not stepping back on the capabilities. Like we still want to be able to target and measure as we are used to with the third-party cookie. But there's so many different signals out there, whether it's through your device, through your browser that you're using, or the website you're visiting, in the bid stream, etc., etc. Now, when you look at these signals in detail, for example, the time of the day, or what language is used in the browser, that's not really giving you a lot of information to do accurate targeting that we're used to. But the combination of all these signals is what makes it, again, very valuable. But here comes the difficult part. Why is not everyone doing it? Now, everyone is doing it because these signals come from different sources, come in different shapes and forms, and it's very difficult to bring these signals all together and make sense of it. What do you need for that? You need AI, but you need very advanced AI, and not every company is able to get to that level or has that level of AI capabilities. And that's very, very important. And I hope that that's something you can take out of here into your discussions today and tomorrow, that AI is going to be in the back end the power that can bring all these different signals together. And maybe challenge your partners. Why do you only use one type of signal? What are you going to do if that signal isn't going to be available anymore? And to make it, again, a bit more or less abstract, let's take a travel client, an airline. What that means, what I just explained, is that the model sees who is currently booking on your website and uses that as the blueprint, and then builds this model with the different signals and is able to use whichever signal is available in that moment. Because if my targeting solution is primarily based, for example, on IDs, what do I do when there's no ID signal? And so on. So basically a system that is more robust and is less fragile is when it's able to process multiple signals and is not reliant on one. And that's exactly what Singapore Airlines, for example, does. Many other airlines we work with, it's a good example because you're not in market for a certain flight forever or for a long time. You need real-time data, and you need to pick up on those signals very early and quickly. And they have been a client with us for a long time. Why that's interesting is because we were able to compare the results we were driving prior to activating Cookieless. And then when we activated Cookieless, I believe in 2021 already. And since then, we've seen how adding those environments had a massive impact. Singapore Airlines, for those who don't know, is they have quite a niche target audience within the travel sector. They don't have that many routes everywhere. It's also very focused on Singapore route or Australian routes. And not only that, they are also not that cheap. It's quite an expensive, but very focused on an airline, very much focused on quality. And we noticed how activating those environments like Safari, which is Apple and Apple device users, and is often correlated with higher income or more affluent audience, we were able to actually increase the revenue by 28% and double the ROAS. More than double the ROAS. This is, by the way, results from running targeting in Germany. So my second takeaway from this masterclass for you is to really choose a tech stack that replaces the third-party cookie with more than just one signal. Let's come to the last part, which is the whole omnichannel part, where I want to bring also something like CTV into the mix. I showed you this earlier, how we use AI, or AI can be used in order to process multiple different signals. It's a similar logic that we use in order to be able to target not just on one device or one channel, but cross-device and across multiple channels, and add something like connected TV into the mix. As I mentioned, the user journey is more complex and more scattered than ever before. And that's why it's really crucial also in your programmatic strategy to make sure you include all these different platforms. But now if we zoom into how CTV is typically or currently bought and activated, it's very much driven by the content that people stream online. I gave a very simple, I couldn't think of a better example, but let's take, for example, the show everyone knows, Germany's Next Top Model. We then would usually assume that it's a lot of females, younger females watching it who are also interested in fashion and beauty, cosmetics, and so on. But that's a very contextual way of planning. But if you think about it, that's exactly how currently a lot of the CTV is being bought and planned. But if you think about it, connected TV, you're targeting on a smart TV. What does your streaming behavior really tell about your current interests, about what you're in market for? If I, for example, have to go to London for a trip and I need to book my flight in a hotel, I'm not going to reflect that on my smart TV or my streaming behavior, right? If my washing machine broke and I need a new one, I'm not going to research that on my TV device, right? So what does this context around my streaming behavior really tell about me? And also, it doesn't really change throughout the year. Rather than planning it like that, think about working with a technology that can actually leverage AI and first-party data also in the CTV household graph. So inputting it with, for example, first-party data from your online browsing behavior, because that's where you're going to research. You're going to use your mobile phone, you're going to use your desktop to research your flights, your hotels, or whatever it is. You should use a AI that has the capability to really analyze your content based on natural language processing, because the content you consume online, those keywords are going to tell a lot about your topical interests. And then the AI can also bring into the mix some ID signals which are more deterministic, meaning I can connect the dots between my online devices versus my household where my CTV, my smart TV is located. And that's what then allows you to really target accurately, because what's the idea of connected TV or programmatic TV? You target the right person in the right moment with your message, no matter what they're streaming. And that's exactly only possible with AI and first-party data. And not only will you be able to reach your right audience, you can manage frequency better, you will be able to model off, for example, your current site events, like your current customers, and look for new ones. And you will be able to much more granularly measure, holistically measure, because that's in the end also really important. I want to know what impact had my CTV campaign actually. Did it generate more sales? Did it generate more website visits? And that's also where AI can help. It can actually overlay and show you what is my overlap between my branding campaigns, my awareness or consideration campaigns, on my actual performance campaigns. So it becomes a true full funnel strategy. It will also be able to show me what's my cross-device site visits. Yeah, so how many people that I've targeted with the CTV ad have visited my website, have booked, have purchased, etc. And what that means really is that this attributed post-CV ad exposure really helps you to justify your CTV spend in a complete different level. So if you find yourself, for example, in the situation where you have to argue why CTV now is important to be part of your media strategy and not just linear TV or not just online video and YouTube, this is exactly what's going to help you. You're going to be able to prove what impact your CTV ad has in the end money-wise, which is what counts. And I have a case study out of the automotive sector here with the brand Polestar. For those who don't know, they are very focused on conquering the electric car space. And they have been using connected TV with us exactly in this way that I just explained. And while running the campaign, they've also measured what was the impact of this campaign. Was there a brand uplift, a consideration uplift? So the campaigns were really targeted more on upper funnel, so awareness and mid-funnel consideration. And we were able to evaluate based on live brand uplift measurements, so in real time, what was the lift created through the awareness campaign, which in this case was 17%. But more importantly, was my uplift in the consideration campaign, which is where, you know, the question is rather addressed towards, would you be considering to buy a Polestar? And the lift there was 65%. So very significant. In the future, of course, you want to add audio into it, the out of home, etc. And that's where it truly becomes a full funnel strategy. So my last point, please, that you should take away is really leverage AI for omnichannel targeting and measurement. So yeah, I hope you can see now how you can increase your conversions by using AI and cookieless, untapping cookieless environments, not just based on one signal, and using AI also to save yourself time because it's going to optimize by itself. So the big question is, of course, what's next? If you are interested to discuss this or you want to know more about it, there is an IAB panel tomorrow on this topic, so you're welcome to join us. It's on stage 2 tomorrow afternoon. But other than that, my team and I are also here to talk about, to answer any questions you have now or later on over a drink. And yeah, I thank you very much for your attention, and questions are welcome.
Thanks for your masterclass. We have 2 questions from the audience. Yeah. First of all, thanks from the audience as well. It was very insightful. Question is it possible to put a number to an amount of first-party data that is needed to work well with AI or not? Yeah, so we need to distinguish whether you're talking about your own first-party data that you want to use versus your pairing or working with a company that has its own first-party data as well. The latter is really what I recommend. But basically, it really depends on the volume you have on your website and your conversion traffic. A solid model for, let's say, a purchase campaign, so really where I'm looking to drive conversions and performance, the more data the AI had, the better. But let's say if you have a couple of hundreds of clients that your model is based on, that's already a the solid model for an algorithm. This is considering a 1-month period. So a couple of hundred conversions on your website in a month should be enough to leverage AI. Thank you. Due to the time, just one question. Yeah. What about digital out-of-home? Can I attribute post-digital out-of-home ad exposure to lower or upper funnel metrics? That's something that I'm probably not the best person to answer because I'm not a digital out-of-home expert. This is something that we're going to venture in the future in as well. But that's exactly what we're trying to solve for first before we go and offer this on our platform. There is different, solutions out there based on your geographic location and so on. But the question for me is really how accurate it is and how scalable it is. But unfortunately, I'm probably not the best person right now to answer this question. If we meet again next year, I should be able to answer you because that's exactly the next channel we should be adding after audio to our platform. Thank you. All right. Some applause for Sara.